What's up, guys? This is Johnny, and welcome to episode 25 of the Travel Like a Boss podcast. I'm here with Lau Hanly from Fierce for Life and Bodyweight.com. How are you doing?
I'm very well. Thank you very much for having me.
You know what? I've been really excited to have you on. I actually wanted to have you on months ago when I'm in Chiang Mai. So we are here in Saigon now.
Yep, very exciting.
How long have you been out here?
I got here about a month ago, and we'll probably be here another 2 months.
All right, very cool. So you focus on exercise and nutrition.
Yep, that's me. I really enjoy all of the amazing things the human body is capable of and teaching other people how to kind of tweak it and manipulate it to get the results that they want.
That's cool. All right, so today I want to talk about the exercise aspect of it, because I really believe that it helped me so much in my own personal life, the nutrition aspect, but also how you're able to just travel around and have this business. So this is a business, and you get to travel around. This is location independent. How did that get started?
Well, about 2 years ago, I decided that I'd really had enough of my 9-to-5 job and sort of started thinking about what I was really passionate about. And when I'd finished school, I'd done a nutrition degree and worked in one of Australia's biggest physique bodybuilding gyms for a long time, and sort of decided that I wanted to get back to that more physical, nutrition-based work. It really is very satisfying to help people in that kind of thing, and I felt like in my 9-to-5 I wasn't doing that at all, so it was really motivated by wanting to get out of the corporate rat race and also get back to more of what I was actually truly interested in.
Well, what I like about Only Bodyweight is it allows people that don't have access to a CrossFit gym or a personal trainer to be able to do these bodyweight exercises in their hotel room or while traveling or wherever they are. That's the whole premise of it, right?
Yeah, so basically you when you have an account, you can set the generator to create you a workout of you can pick a whole different varieties of workouts. You can do an upper body workout, lower body, whole body, or an interval workout, which is really hard cardio and really gets everything working really hard. You can set it to whatever difficulty level you want, so it's great for beginners, but all the way up to really advanced athletes. So, I can't even do the exercises on the hardest levels, so
Nice.
So it suits everybody, and it's very versatile. You can save your workouts and come back to them, and yeah, it's just a fun way of working out.
That's cool, and that's for both men and women?
Yep, works for both.
Okay. So if let's say I'm traveling around for business, and I'm going to be in different hotel rooms for the next 2 months, but I want to stay on a routine, like Only Bodyweight, like what is it, like what's actually in it?
So it's got a whole variety of exercises. So we sort of scoured all of the exercise encyclopedias and talked to all of our friends who train a lot and kind of put together sequences of the best and most challenging and effective exercises. So each level has like a different number of exercises. So if you do, say, a level 1 or 2, you might only get 10 or so exercises to do in the workout just to kind of ease you into it, but the further along you get, the more exercises are in each sequence and the harder the exercises become.
Okay, so here's like the business aspect of it. How do you get new members?
So we've been doing a lot of videos. We're also starting to target more, doing like more Facebook advertising and also just putting it out to the business community. Obviously, we know quite a lot of people who are doing this location-independent business, and it works really well for a lot of those people because you don't want to take a big chunk of time out of your day to go to the gym or go for a really long, extensive class or anything. You maybe just want to be able to get in like half an hour, quickly pump it out in the middle of the day, and then get back to what you're doing.
All right. I'm a big fan of these organized workouts where I don't have to think about what I need to do today. I don't need to think about like routine. I don't even need to go and search for anything. I can kind of just go on and be like, okay, what should I do today? Because I really firmly believe that the less thinking you have to do when working out, the better shape you're going to get in.
That's absolutely true. I think the more automatic you can make your fitness and your nutrition, the better. I think people often overthink things, and this is where they come apart because they're worried about doing the very best option, whereas the most effective method is really just to do something. You're better doing something than talking yourself out of doing it because it might not be exactly right, or it's better to be consistent than perfect.
There was a guy that was on the group me chat that was looking for a gym for the last 3 days, and he was complaining. He's like, oh yeah, all these gyms here suck, and none of them have a squat rack. And he's like, I can't join any of these, gyms. And first off, he's only here for a few weeks or a month or something, and he's traveling through. And I think someone finally called him out on it and said, look, like, just do something, just do anything, and, like, you don't look like you work out at all anyways. And I felt really bad for him. But at the same time, it's true, because in the 3 days he spent, just going around at different gyms, finding that perfect one, he could just worked out, and be like, you know what, tomorrow I'll check out a different one. I'll work out there, do whatever I can. Maybe the next day I'll just, I'll work out at home. I'll work out, with these videos on the internet.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like, getting to that point of choosing consistency over perfection is a journey for a lot of people. It's something that, especially for people who run their own businesses, we're all massive perfectionists and like to get stuff done right. So yeah, learning to let go of the perfectionist element when it comes to your training is really important. But yeah, I mean, I try not to rag on people too much because it is a long process a lot of the time. But yeah, consistency wins every time.
I agree with that, not only for fitness, but nutrition and business as well. Like for me, like when I was writing 12 Weeks in Thailand, I was just banging out content. I didn't proofread it. I didn't grammar check it.
Yeah.
And it would have been better if I sent it to an editor and had someone edit all of it before, publishing on Kindle.
Yeah.
But I was broke at the time. This is a year ago. That was my only source of income, and I was like, I need to put something out there. And I knew that if I strive for perfection and I like proofread every other sentence after writing it, I would never get it done. So, just like with the workouts, just bang it out, put something out there, and as long as you're not hurting yourself, you're not injuring yourself, as long as you kind of do something every day, eventually you could be like, okay, you know what? Now that I'm doing this consistently 5 days a week, maybe I can start following an actual plan that works.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, it's again the same across all three areas of life. Like if you just get the basics going, just start, producing or working out or trying to eat healthy all the time, just get the big wins, get those happening. And then as you make more progress, you can start to fine tune things. You can start to experiment with what type of foods really work for you, or you can experiment with different forms of particular exercises to target a certain part of your body, or, you can start doing like split testing for your business. It's better to get the big wins in and get really, really good at the basics, and then you can tweak as you get further along.
I like it. So, while we're out here in Vietnam, what's the food like?
The food here is so good. I'm loving trying all the food here. I think especially coming from Thailand, where everything was so spicy and intense, it's just really flavorful, and yeah, I'm really enjoying it. It's maybe not the most paleo friendly, but I think you can eat pretty healthy most of the time without too much trouble.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Food out here has been phenomenal, and I'm really tempted to just eat standard Vietnamese food, the pho noodles, all the baguettes you get with everything. I mean, when you order beef stew, you get a baguette.
Baguettes.
When you have these 60-cent banh mi Vietnamese sandwiches, which are amazing.
Amazing, so amazing.
But I decided a year ago, I said, you know what, no matter what, I'm going to eat paleo. I mean, I don't care where I am. I don't care what it costs. I don't care if I have to learn another language to order it in paleo.
Yeah.
That's what I decided to do, and I've been sticking to it. So the Google...
I admire your dedication.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I mean, like a Google Translate app, I've been writing, I want pho without the pho. And then they'll look at me like I'm crazy.
You're crazy.
Yep. So what I'll write down is, I'll write down the ingredients I want. I'll be like, soup, beef, vegetables, no noodles, no bean sprouts.
Wow. No bean sprouts. I mean, that's taking it to the next level.
Yeah, in the beginning I was eating bean sprouts, and then I was thinking, somebody had mentioned that they were actually just soy sprouts, and I was like, you know what, I probably don't need any more estrogen in my body, so I'm just not going to eat it.
Yeah, they're probably fairly low on the soy loading, but yeah, definitely if you're being very particular about what you eat, I applaud you.
Thank you. But I mean, the food out here is so good anyways, I don't miss it. Like if I was really just dreading my diet, I'd just be like, and not enjoying traveling, not enjoying life, I wouldn't do it. But I really feel like I'm enjoying life just as much as anyone else while eating this way. Like, for example, today, I'll tell you what I ate today, and tell me if this fits the First for Life diet, okay? So I went to the gym this morning, and for breakfast, I was here at New Cuisine, and I had 3 eggs, and bacon, and a sausage, and a grilled tomato.
sounds delicious.
Okay. You know, and I
And
figured
this was after your gym session?
this is after my gym session. So
Probably could have, well, I know that you don't eat paleo, but maybe you could have had like some pumpkin or sweet potato or something just to like give your muscles a little glycogen bump, give you a
Okay.
bit more focus for the morning.
I like that. And I do like pumpkin. And I like sweet potatoes. Had some black coffee, Vietnamese coffee, nice.
Nice.
And then right before you came, I had lamb shank with pumpkin. So stewed pumpkin with zucchini and a leg of lamb.
Yeah, I saw this as it got brought out. I couldn't believe how good it looked. Oh my gosh, he's so annoyed I had lunch already. Yeah, I mean, I think that's really great. The big things there are that you're having a good serve of protein and a good serve of fats at every meal. So those are both really important for feeling full for a long time, feeling satisfied. Eating fats particularly helps like cut off cravings. So fats trigger the production of particular hormones that make your brain go, okay, I'm satisfied. I don't need to snack on anything. So it's actually very good for controlling your appetite.
No, I think that adding more fat to my diet, adding more healthy fat to my diet, I think was the single best thing that I've done.
Yeah.
So every day I try to have as much avocado as I can. I try to have a couple coconuts and I eat the meat as well.
Yeah.
And whenever I can get my hands on it, I'll have grass-fed butter.
Yeah.
I'll have coconut oil.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, avocado and coconut, now that you mention them, are actually really great as well because they're very high in fiber. And I think a lot of people on the paleo diet maybe don't think about how much fiber they need. You know, if you're eating a lot of protein, and you know, all of us who eat lots of meat do eat a lot of protein, your body really needs the extra fiber to be able to break it down effectively. So eating really fibrous vegetables and fruit like that is really important.
Okay, I like it. And it tastes good, so
Which
that's
helps.
why. Yeah, that's why I feel like I'm not missing out.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that was holding me back last year, when I was trying to do this, the last couple of years, 'cause I heard about paleo years ago.
Sure.
Was either kind of getting lazy about it or having excuses like, oh, it's not easy to order it, and so the big mentality change was I'm gonna eat this no matter what, or I'm just not gonna eat anything.
Right.
And the second big shift was actually a monetary thing, where a lot of people don't think about it, but when it costs 4 times as much to eat the paleo version, a lot of people just won't do it.
Yeah.
Like for example, I can for 60 cents US, I can get a Vietnamese sandwich, and it tastes awesome. It tastes amazing, right? But instead, I'm spending $10 on lamb for lunch, or even for breakfast. I can have pho for $1, or just or like eggs on toast for $1. But instead, I'm ordering all these sides. I'm kind of like custom building my breakfast. And my bill every day comes out to be like $20, here at this cafe, when in reality, like for most people, it would probably be $5.
Yeah.
But I really feel like it's worth it. I'm like, our bodies are worth it.
I agree with you, and I think also the thing a lot of people don't think about is like when you're really taking care of what you're eating and how you're treating your body, it also really optimizes your business performance because you're a lot more energetic and focused. You can be a lot more productive because your body has everything it needs to function properly. So you don't get that brain fog in the afternoon when you've had a chocolate bar, or you don't get the upset stomach when you've eaten maybe some really sugary cake or something. When you're feeding your body well, it actually enables you to be a better business person. And so I always think if I spend a little bit more money on what I eat, I'm probably going to make a lot more money that day.
Ah, I like it. I like that.
Yeah, so I think it's a little bit of a reframe. People feel a bit weird maybe about spending lots on really healthy food, and I agree with you, it becomes an excuse for a lot of people, but I like to think of it as an investment not only in my body and my future, but also my business.
You know what? I don't know if this is correlation or causation, but ever since I decided I'm going to eat 100% paleo no matter what, my income has went up like 2,000%. I mean, because literally 1 year ago, February 25th, or whatever it was,
Yep.
I wasn't eating paleo yet. I was I mean, I consider myself 80% paleo,
Yep.
but in reality, I was more like 10% paleo. I was paleo when it was convenient.
Yeah.
And I was out of shape. I was fat, and I never had any energy. I was lethargic. I always had to take naps.
Yeah.
And around that same time, I decided, you know what, 100%, I don't care, no matter what. And for a while, I was broke. I was making like $200 a month from my book sales, and I was
Yeah.
still going out and eating, ordering avocado on the side for $4.
Yeah.
Ordering like extra coconut, like stuff like that, which I couldn't really afford at the time. But I think it almost forced me to bump up my income so I could afford that.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. I mean, I think the times when I feel like I can't afford to eat really healthy food are the times where I'm like, right, time to really get to work, time to really pump up my game, because this is not something I'm prepared to compromise on.
So no compromise when it comes to diet.
I'm not saying no compromise. Like, I probably am a little bit more flexible with how I eat compared to you. I sort of eat like, I'm not 100% paleo, just because I like to eat a bit more carbs than most people doing strict paleo would do, but I have a very specific way that I eat, so I always stick to my particular plan. And yeah, I mean, I think that that's a really good benchmark to set yourself against. You know, am I upholding these things that are really, really important to me, and is my business work supporting those goals?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with how fast, you know, like, is this something we want to do for the rest of our life, or do we just want kind of some quick results? For me, I used to, you know, just want the immediate result.
Yeah.
And that didn't work, right?
Rarely does, unfortunately.
But then I decided, okay, you know, what would work for me? I'm like, okay, let me get the 1 year result. So exactly 1 year ago, I said, okay, by next summer, I want to have a six-pack.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I said, no matter what, I mean, I'm 32 years old. This is the prime of my life. You know, I can't be trying to do this when I'm 50.
Yeah.
I need to do this now. And I knew I had, you know, I was like, this is it. Like, if I can't do it this year, it's going to be harder and harder every year.
Yeah.
So I decided, no matter what, I'm going to stick to it 100% for this year, get that six-pack, and then go out to a all-you-can-eat cake buffet.
It's a good way to top it up.
No, or, I mean, I think what I'll do is, after I get to a weight and a lean list I'm happy at, I'm actually going to start eating more carbs.
Sure, yeah.
Because I do feel like, and even right now, I force myself once a week to have sweet potatoes, or some kind of, you know, healthy carb that kind of, I think it kind of rebalances my life, my brain.
Yeah, I mean, it's very important when you're low on any macronutrients, so macros being protein, fats, and carbs. If you're going very low on any of them, it's really important to periodically include them, because leaving them out for a long time can really screw up your hormonal balance, which is not something you want to be messing around with in the long term. In the short term, it can give you really amazing results for your body, but you do need to be aware that cutting anything out, you know, drastically like that can have long-term implications. So it's good to hear that you're periodically including some carbs.
Yeah, you know, I really believe that life is really about balance.
Absolutely.
Everything is super about balance. Not just with nutrition, but not just with exercise. You know, just, I don't know, relationships, life. I don't know, life.
Yeah, I think, you know, it's completely unsustainable to be 100% one way or 100% another way all the time. You know, everybody's got a breaking point, and it's better not to get to the breaking point in the first place. You know, learning to see when you're getting a little bit too extreme in any area, and maybe putting strategies in place to kind of bring yourself back from the brink a little bit.
Well, kind of going back to the adding healthy fats to diet, that's the thing that kept me sane. Where when I tried paleo or primal, it was like a lot of protein, no carbs, and not that much fat. I don't think they really talked about it too much. I know they mentioned it was important, but it wasn't really a big emphasis.
Right.
And that's why it didn't work for me, because I was just eating a lot of protein, and I felt off. You know, I felt like I'm just getting rid of carbs, but I'm not really adding anything else. And there's only so much more protein you can eat.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, by the time you're on your fifth steak for the day, everybody gets a bit over it. So.
Yeah. But then when I read about the healthy fats, and I was like, okay, let me add this grass-fed butter to my diet. Let me add the coconut fat, the avocado fat. Mm-hmm. That's when I felt more balanced, and I felt sustained. So now I actually don't eat that much meat. I probably eat the same amount of meat now as I did before I did paleo. Okay. And the only difference is I eat more vegetables now, and I eat more healthy fat. Yeah. And I just don't eat any of the carbs. Yeah.
Sounds pretty balanced to me.
I appreciate that. So if you guys heard that rooster in the background earlier, I'm eating it now. I apologize if it's a little bit crazy out here, but this is Saigon. I mean, you guys listening, you know, in your head earbuds in your car or in your office, you are experiencing Saigon firsthand, with the crazy Vietnamese chit-chat in the background, the roosters everywhere.
There is not a quiet corner in this city.
It's insane.
Yeah.
You know, somebody was actually mentioning that when they go home at night and lay down, they feel their ears ringing.
I've been finding that a lot, actually, and I've been feeling even a tiny bit deaf. I go into a quiet space and I'm like, oh my god, my ears feel like they have cotton wool in them, you know, it's so noisy everywhere that when you get away from it a bit, the silence is literally deafening.
Yeah, there is, like, I swear there's no quiet place in Vietnam. I mean, maybe if you were out, like, you know, in a field somewhere, but in Saigon, in Ho Chi Minh City, this is literally the quietest spot we can find in the entire city.
Yeah,
and
I mean, even in the middle of the night, like, and I think it's partly like the Vietnamese have such a crazy work ethic. They just work all the time. Like, weekends are not a thing here. And I mean, there's a construction site next door to my building, and I woke up the other night at maybe 2 a.m, and they're still working away, just completely crazy.
There's a construction site next to every single building.
That's true.
And they work Saturday mornings, they work Sundays.
Yeah, always on.
So in a few weeks, I'm going to be going down to Krabi, which is one of the islands in Thailand, with the girl I've been dating, Larissa. And I'm looking, as much as I like Saigon, I'm really looking forward to just go down to the beach and chill out for a while. So I've decided that even though I love Saigon, and this is a place I'm going to start coming to once in a while, because there's so much to do here, there's so much energy, so many entrepreneurs, I'm still going to make Thailand my base. And it's such an easy flight.
It is. I mean, Saigon is really convenient because it's so easy to get everywhere. And I mean, Johnny and I met in Thailand, so, you know, I think both of us really enjoyed being there. I mean, speaking for both of us here, but I loved being there. But like you were saying about Saigon, there's so much good energy here and so many really productive, interesting people working on huge, amazing products and programs and training other people, and I'm finding it really inspiring to be here, but I can understand you wanting to get a bit of a break.
Yeah. So me and Lau, we met, it was actually quite a while ago, right?
Yeah.
More than 6 months ago.
Yeah, I would even guess maybe approaching a year.
Almost a year ago in Chiang Mai, at the beer buffet.
Of all the places.
It was cheap too. Like, do you remember what it was?
Oh my goodness! I think it was about 160 baht, which is maybe $4 or $5 for all you can drink Heineken and Hefeweizen German beer. And I mean, if you're a beer buff, that's the place to be on a Friday night.
Yeah, for like hours too.
And I think it starts at about 4 o'clock and runs till 9 or something, which is just outrageous. It is outrageous the amount of beer you can drink in 5 hours.
And I have no idea how they make money. It's $5 US, and you can drink as much as you want for like 4 hours.
My only guess is that maybe people get really drunk and start ordering lots of food, or they decide that they want to move on to harder stuff, and so they start paying for spirits and that kind of thing. I don't know. There are a lot of drunk people there that night. Well,
either way, it was a cool place, and I remember when I first met you, the couple of things I was really impressed about is, one, you had red lipstick, and not so many girls can pull that off. And I really feel like it's a confidence that people carry, because you know yourself, you know what you want, and you know you have a healthy lifestyle. The fitness, the nutrition, it all comes into place where it radiates. So that was a really, really cool thing about you.
Oh, thank you. That's
You're
really
very welcome.
nice.
I'm gonna give you a little hug on it. And the other thing I wanted to thank you about is, so when I met you, I had asked you, I think we were talking about how long you've been married, and I saw you had like a really good relationship with Rob.
Yeah.
All right, so her husband, Rob, is an entrepreneur.
He is. He does a lot of business and marketing consulting. At the moment, he's only working with 7- and 8-figure businesses, so he actually was sort of the reason I took the leap of faith and jumped into the entrepreneurial lifestyle. So,
that's actually something I want to talk about. So let's say I'm dating a girl who isn't quite an entrepreneur yet, but I would like her to be, so we can travel around. What's a good way to kind of nudge her towards that?
I think it's something that she obviously has to be interested in herself. You can't force someone to be an entrepreneur because the lifestyle is not for everyone. There's a lot of uncertainty, and it's a very counterintuitive way to live for a lot of people. But if she is keen on doing it, I think encourage her and let her know that you'll support her, because, I mean, obviously the first thing everyone worries about is, what if I don't make money to begin with? How am I going to support myself? And I'm not saying that you should be somebody's meal ticket, but, let her know that if she really gets stuck, there's a safety blanket there, And then also just be prepared to help her learn things, point her to the resources that have helped you most. So, for example, maybe reading something like How to Win Friends and Influence People is a really interesting book on learning how to communicate clearly with people and win people over to you, so that, you know, as you develop a business, you can start reaching out to the people that it's relevant to. I think just, you know, having a listen to some podcasts. I mean, listening is not a business podcast, but listening to Hardcore History, I don't know if you listened to that.
Yeah, Dan Carlin.
Oh my gosh, it's so amazing.
The,
listening to that made
Genghis
me really...
Khan.
Best series ever. If you haven't listened to it, just line that right up for after this podcast. But listening to that made me really understand the value of storytelling and, you know, tailoring your message to your audience. So I think you can learn a lot about business from just what other people are doing. So pointing her to other people that you admire or who are doing what she's interested in doing, so that she can start kind of learning by osmosis.
I like that. Well, one thing that I am very appreciative is that she was okay with me coming here to Vietnam for a month.
Sure.
And she can't come because she's teaching in back in Chiang Mai. She teaches little kids like kindergarten age, and to her it's a big step because, you know, she moved out here from South Africa and she had like a normal corporate job.
Yeah.
So for her to even come out to Thailand and work as a teacher for a year is already a huge step, and I have to remember that.
Yeah.
That, you know, to her, she's already out of her comfort zone. But what I really appreciate is the fact that, you know, I told her, I said, hey, I would like to come out to Vietnam because everybody's out here.
Yeah.
You know, all my networking buddies are out here. There's tons of entrepreneurs out here. And I had told myself I didn't want to be in Chiang Mai during March because it's the birding season.
Yeah, you want to avoid that for sure.
Yeah, and, you know, she's been okay with it. I mean, and, you know, we Skype once in a while, and we have a date set up for next month in Krabi, and I think that's actually, it works out perfectly.
Yeah, I think, you know, any really healthy relationship, like you were saying before, has to be about balance. And, you know, you can't be the only thing that each other has, and, you know, you need to have other interests and other friends, and, you know, be comfortable doing things separately, and, you know, letting the other person do things separately as well. And I mean, that's the same even for working relationships. You know, you've got to be about balance and trusting the other person.
You know, so I don't know if you know this, Law, but you're actually the reason, your advice that you gave me a year ago was the reason of why I'm no longer single.
Well, that's exciting to hear. Maybe I've got a second career as a dating coach.
You know what? You actually would be a great dating coach. You know, I'd be great at telling a guy, you know, like, all right, go talk to that girl at the bar. You know, like, go chat her up with this line. But I wouldn't know what to do after that. I'm like, okay, terrible relationships. And, like, what's the point of being able to talk to 100 girls at a bar and get 50 phone numbers and still be single 2 months later?
Depends what you want, I guess. But if you're after something a bit more permanent, that doesn't sound great.
I honestly don't think any guy really wants that. I mean, maybe a couple of sociopaths, but most guys, they think that they want to be this, you know, this magical, you know, love guru guy. But in reality, every guy just wants a really cool girlfriend. Yeah. And so I don't know if you remember having this conversation, but I asked you, how did you, like what were the steps? And you said that you had decided, you made a list. I don't know if you wrote it out or if it's mental, but you said you had a list where you made up what your perfect match would be.
Yep, I do remember, and I did have an actual list that I wrote down.
And you remember, like, a week after that, after I saw you, I pulled out a piece of paper.
I do remember.
So I don't know where that paper is anymore, but I wrote it out on my computer.
Oh, awesome.
And it's right in front of it. So it's my perfect match. And so if any of you guys are single and you want, I mean, and this works. So if you want to follow this 3-step formula where I guarantee you within a year, you're going to find someone that actually is your perfect match, you know, because you put this out there, follow these steps. All right, so what are the 3 categories?
So first up, you need to have your must-haves. These are the things that are absolutely non-negotiable in your partner. So it might be that they are kind to service people. You know, they're, you know, pleasant to people who are below them on the, you know, social ladder, or they're, you know, a particular height, or they are having a really good relationship with their family, or they have really cool hobbies. You know, the things that are really, really important to you and are non-negotiable. So you've got to have a list of those key things. Then you need to have a list of nice-to-haves. So these are the things that, you know, if they have them, that's a sweet bonus, but if they don't, it's not really a big deal. So maybe, you know, they like the beach, or they have brown hair, or, you know, there are those kind of things that are not so important, but nice to have. finally, there are the things that you cannot have. So the absolute deal breakers. So, you know, Johnny here on his list has got that he won't date a smoker. And, you know, I completely understand that. That would be a deal breaker for me as well. So it's as important to know what you don't want as what you do want. Because if you find someone that ticks all of the right boxes but then has a whole heap of things that are also deal breakers, you don't want to be in two minds about whether you want to date them. You know, if there's ticking all the yes boxes but also the no's, they should automatically be a no. So, yeah.
So what I really liked about your list is that everything was actually achievable, not only, but also you weren't overshooting. You know, you didn't write, I want a multi-billionaire that's 6'8", that's like a famous celebrity.
Yeah.
I really believe that there's a lot of girls out there that have these like fairy tale dreams of what they want versus what they have to offer.
Yeah, I think it's important to realize, like, if you want a multi-billionaire boyfriend, you need to be the kind of person that a multi-billionaire would date. Like, are you exhibiting the kind of, you know, personality traits that someone in that position would look for? They're probably looking for someone who's extremely driven, very self-starting, you know, has a whole lot of their own projects going on the side, not very emotionally needy. You know, you'd have to be you need to be thinking about what your ideal person is looking for in their ideal person.
Yeah, so you know, things that you had were like, must be taller than me. I'm like, okay, you know what, that makes sense. You know, no girl really wants to date a guy that's shorter, right?
I didn't.
Right, but like, must enjoy health and exercise. Yep. And I know that's important to you because that's something that you focus on yourself.
Yep.
So that makes absolute sense. You know, you didn't write must have an 8-pack.
Probably would prefer that he didn't have an 8-pack, actually. That's just a whole lot of inferiority that I'm going to have to deal with.
You know, 8-pack coming soon, guys. November 2014. Check it out. Check out JohnnyFD.com. Actually, you know what? So now that I'm getting kind of close to seeing the results of what will be a 6-pack very soon, I actually realized that exactly the way I am right now today, I'm at like 99.9% happy. And by getting, losing that extra 5% body fat is actually not going to make me that much happier.
It's an interesting realization, isn't it, when you've been working towards something for so long and then you think, like, actually, like, I really like myself now. And it's not about the, tiny extra bit of body fat that's going to make me happy. Because I think along the way, you kind of, it's like you shed, along with all the body fat, you shed all of the things about yourself that you don't like anymore.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, because I always grew up as a fat kid. And, I followed all these weird, crash diets, these weird exercise things. And I think finally I found something that I'm like, oh, well, I can just do this for the rest of my life. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
It's not even that hard. I'm like, okay, just stop eating crap, and eat more good stuff.
Yeah.
And then just exercise once in a while. I actually exercise a lot less now than I did last year, mainly because I realize I like feeling healthy. I don't like getting injured anymore, which is a big reason why, even though I love the sport Muay Thai, I'm just taking a break from it because I know how damaging it is on my body. And even CrossFit. I mean, I really think that it's a great workout, but at the same time, I know how easy it is to hurt yourself when you're doing it 5-6 days a week and trying to set PRs and hit personal records every day.
Yeah. I mean, this is something I talk about a lot with my clients, is that there's no one-size-fits-all nutrition or training program. That you have to spend, unsexy as it sounds, you've got to spend years experimenting and trying a whole bunch of different things and figuring out exactly what works for you. Because I can guarantee that if Johnny and I ate exactly the same thing every day, we would have completely different results. So what works for one person is not going to work for somebody else. And until you're prepared to kind of go through and experiment and kind of, view it as a fun process. What does this food do to my body? Or what does this kind of exercise do to my body? It's approaching it as like fun experimentation makes the process a lot more enjoyable and it goes a lot faster. But also it gives you, as you said, a plan that you can stick with for the rest of your life because it's something that you feel comfortable with and that you feel healthy with and that is sustainable.
It's funny, somebody asked, so somebody that I guess had read my blogs and listened to the podcast, seen videos of me and pictures of me, but hasn't actually met me yet. He asked one of my buddies out here, "Is Johnny really as crazy as he comes off on his videos?" And I think by crazy he just meant like energetic and I don't actually, maybe he meant crazy, but my buddy was like, he's like, yep, Johnny's a wild guy. He like nonstop, always. This is just the way he is. Every time I talk to him, no matter if it's morning or a night, he has the same level of energy, and that's 100% because of the diet and the exercise.
Yeah, and I mean, you can't argue with the results, can you?
Yeah. So I love it. Okay, so back to my. I really want to share this list with everyone. It's a little bit personal, but you know what? Who cares? My life's on the internet. My perfect match, must-haves, genuinely kind. This was actually on top of my list, and I don't think I would have put this on my list 5-10 years ago when all I cared about was trying to bang a hot blonde model.
Yep.
But now that I'm 32 and I'm like, you know what? I actually want someone that's a quality woman that I actually want to spend time with. I realize how important it is for a girl to be genuinely nice. And a lot of it kind of goes back to what you were saying earlier about just being nice to like staff or people that are socially, on a small, like let's say like a waiter or a bartender or something, or somebody that makes less money than you, or just someone that is like a service industry.
Yeah.
How they treat those people versus how they treat, people that make more money than them or they can get something from.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of girls have this misconception that being kind is weak, but there's that great, I can't remember who it's by, it's a great hip-hop song that has a riff in it that says, don't mistake my kindness for weakness. And I always think you can be very kind, but it doesn't make you a weak person. You can be really, really strong, but also use kindness as a symptom of your strength.
And kindness is a very beautiful, sexy quality in a woman. Just like if a girl's genuinely nice, maybe not like as a pushover, but just like she's actually a good person. Man, it is so hard to find. Yeah. And and it's unfortunate, but it's such a rare quality. I mean, it's so like beauty really is rare. I mean, it's common. Like especially nowadays when people can, use hair, makeup, and clothes to look beautiful. But any girl can look beautiful, and we've seen it in Photoshop, we've seen it in magazines. But for a girl to actually genuinely be nice, it's a very, very rare quality.
Yeah, and I think it physically it shows as well. When you're kind to people, you can be happy with yourself, and you feel confident that you're living a good life. So it makes you more relaxed, it makes you more approachable. It kind of translates to a physical attractiveness as well.
So the other ones, I'm just going to run through it really quick. I don't want to spend all day on it, but beautiful to me. I want a girl that's beautiful, but I actually honestly don't care if other people think she's beautiful. As long as when I see her and I'm like, she's so beautiful to me, that's all I care. Yeah. I'm no longer trying to show off to anyone else. Maybe when I was in my early 20s, I wanted this hot chick on my arm that everyone was like, oh my god, she's so hot. Now, I can care less. If I find her beautiful, that's really all that matters.
Yeah.
But I do want a girl that's in good shape because fitness is important to me.
Yeah.
And I don't, it's really hard because when a girl is young, let's say she's 24 or younger, it's really easy for her just to kind of coast off her genetics. But once a girl gets to a certain age, she kind of has to start caring about, her body on fitness and nutrition. And it's not even just about that. It's more about, it's on the kind of the same level as me where I enjoy eating healthy and I enjoy exercising, and I want her to genuinely enjoy it as well. Here's the really big ones: supportive in what I do and appreciative of what I do for her. And I really believe that in this journey, especially as an entrepreneur, it's so difficult to be in this world that you need somebody out there to kind of be by your side and support you. And also, when you do nice things for them, you want them to appreciate you. What are your thoughts, like, as being married to a guy who's an entrepreneur? How is that?
It's really awesome, actually. I mean, Rob's incredibly smart. I mean, I think when I first met him, he's very personable and gets along really well with everybody. He's the picture of enthusiasm, and I think even for a long time when we started dating, I probably underestimated how incredibly intelligent and far-thinking he is. He just thinks so far ahead. It's amazing. So he constantly surprises me, and I think you're right that it's important to appreciate what other people do for you, especially if you're in a long-term relationship. And I mean, I couldn't be happier or luckier. I mean, I feel Rob's just a massive blessing to me and has taught me so much about business as well. I mean, say for example, working on Only Bodyweight, like, I mean, it's tricky being married and also working on business together because, you know, you've got to be really disciplined about how you work together and not just take each other for granted. But for example, we work on Only Bodyweight together and he built the actual software for it on WordPress actually, but I created all of the workouts and did all the filming. So you've got to play to each other's strengths, you know, and really appreciate how much work the other person puts in, and also be prepared to acknowledge when they're better at something than you. You know, it can be a bit of an ego hit to be working in such close quarters with somebody who is maybe really, really good at a lot of things. There's that rooster again. But yeah, I think it's really important not to take people that you work with for granted, and the people who are close relationships. I think it's very easy to just get used to having amazing people around. You know, the entrepreneurial community is full of incredible people, but because we all hang out all the time, it's really easy to forget how amazing they are. So I think, yeah, it's really important to show your appreciation for the people around you.
You know, sometimes I wonder, so I joke around a lot about that we, as a group of friends, and it's kind of like this big network that we have, that we kind of built over the course of the years, out in Saigon, out in Chiang Mai, that we are the internet.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably fair.
I mean, there's a good chance that anything that you Google, anything that you buy, is somehow is going to be related to within 1 degree of separation to somebody, and there's a good chance that whatever article you're reading was written by a guy sitting next to me in a coffee shop.
Yeah, I think it's a fairly safe bet that, you know, if you're buying something, someone that we know has built it or has a finger in it, or, you know, knows somebody who did it.
That's so crazy. And the thing is,
it's so crazy.
You know, what I really like about it is that it's actually a really open network. It's not like this, you know, closed old boys club. I mean, probably every other day I meet a new person, you know, that's like a friend of a friend, and we just welcome them in.
Yeah.
And everyone's always so willing to help with each other's businesses. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, Only Bodyweight, we had been kicking around the idea for a little while, but Ian Borders, who runs MergePay and MergeSpace in Pai in northern Thailand, was like, why don't you guys do that? What a great idea. And so he kind of was like, come on, do it. You know, I want a prototype in a week. So
nice.
We got a wriggle on and built it in a week and then put it out to a bunch of people, and the feedback we got from the rest of the community was so helpful, and now we've got a really great product that we both personally love using, but also that we've got a really consistent client base for. So
I really feel like when we're back home and our friends and family that we hang out with aren't entrepreneurs, it's really hard. I mean, even though they want to support us, I mean, some people will go as far as saying that all your friends, all your family secretly want to hold you back because they want you to stay the same. You know, for various reasons, either because they're afraid of losing you as a friend, or, you know, having you grow too fast, or, you know, maybe they're also afraid of you messing up your life by trying to do something. Like, let's say you have a good job and you quit it to do this path. Maybe they are genuinely afraid, you know, that you're not going to succeed. But I think either way, if they're not an entrepreneur, if you're not surrounded by other people who do the same thing, that you are being held back.
Yeah, I don't think it's something that people do intentionally. And I mean, I find this a lot with coaching clients, is that they're held back by their own fear of what other people will think about them. And I think that's very true also for entrepreneurs, is that, you know, if I try and make this huge change in my life, everything is going to be different and people will treat me differently and think about me differently, and that's maybe not a reality I'm prepared to face. But when it comes to, you know, nutrition or training or creating a business, it's those hurdles that are the most important. You know, you've got to be able to, I think it's not useful to worry about what other people's reactions are going to be. You know, if they don't want you to succeed, then, you know, that's for them to worry about. The thing that's important is what are you trying to achieve, and focusing instead on what you want your life to be, and surrounding yourself with people who also have really big dreams. You know, you're the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with, right? And it's important, I think, not to worry so much about the people who don't have big dreams, but to focus on surrounding yourself with the people who do.
You know, a year ago, when I didn't really have this network yet, I didn't know any of these people. I had found these podcasts. You know, I was listening to, and this wasn't around then, but I was listening to like Lifestyle Business Podcast, which is now the Tropical MBA. I was listening to a couple other ones like that, and I was like, you know what? And their slogan, their tagline that they still use is, no matter even if you are alone in your entrepreneurial journey, today in your earbuds, you are surrounded by thousands of entrepreneurs. The cheapest way to fly business class, or something like that. All right.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really, I mean, that itself is a crazy thought that, you know, so many people are connected by these podcasts and, you know, by the entrepreneurial online community. But yeah, I think, you know, you get to choose. You know, there's no rule that says you have to stay surrounded by people who don't support what you're doing. You get to choose who your friends are and who your mentors are, and, you know, to choose the way you approach your relationships.
And especially now with blogs and social media, it's so easy to connect with them. I just started using Twitter. I know it's 2014. I
wasn't going to say anything.
Okay, thank you. That's because you're a very genuinely nice girl. That's why you're married. I didn't realize that you can basically follow anybody, even though they're like, let's say you can follow Barack Obama, right?
Yep.
And you could just put at Barack Obama and write them a message, and they'll get it.
Yep.
And it's insane. I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds ridiculous, and I feel like such an old lady saying this, but the internet just boggles my mind. It's such an amazing, amazing tool.
So so if you guys want to get in touch with me on Twitter, it's JohnnyFDK. And Lau, what's your Twitter?
Just at Lau Hanly, LauHanly.
So anytime you want to connect with us or anyone we know, it's so easy nowadays. I mean, if you leave a comment on the blogs, you know, or participate in these, you know, these Twitter discussions, I mean, instantly you're just plugged in to, and you'll meet other people doing that as well, which I love. I really believe that now this year, especially like just today, and this part of my life, I'm finally okay with myself. I'm finally very happy with who I am. It's always easy to have self-doubt. So wherever you guys are in your journey for everything, I think there's, you know, a couple of big categories. One is business, you know, or financial. Another one is relationships. Another is, you know, your body, like your fitness level. And I'm very, very fortunate where, because I've worked so hard on all three of these aspects, I'm very happy with where I'm at today. And it's very tempting to, you know, to still be discouraged, or, you know, if somebody says something negative, or somebody has way more money than me, or somebody's, you know, already married with families and a house. It's really easy to get discouraged and think, oh, you know what? Yeah, maybe I'm not quite there yet. Maybe, you know, there's so much more far ahead, or maybe this person's right. Maybe, you know, blah, blah, blah. But I really believe that exactly the way you are today is actually fine. And everyone just has to be happy with who they are today, while having these plans to become that person they really want to be a year from now.
Yeah, I think, you know, it's important to, I mean, that's easier said than done. It's really important to set goals for yourself in the future that, you know, you aspire to achieve, but also just, you know, being comfortable that, like, I'm becoming the best version of myself, and not to beat yourself up about the flaws or, you know, the things you haven't achieved yet. So yeah, it's really important.
There's a t-shirt that I bought in Thailand that says, I'm not perfect, but I'm limited edition.
It's a good way of looking at it.
I really like it. I mean, I'll never be taller than I am today, but I can be in the best shape I could be in. You know, I'll never be, you know, I'll never be a different person, but I can be the best version of me. And I realized, you know what, that's actually good enough. So these, you know, I really want to celebrate kind of this episode, you know, as being almost like a full circle, where when I first met Lau a year ago, you know, and I think a lot of it had to do with the relationship. I think the reason why I actually was able to achieve these other two aspects of my life is I actually had written down this list of what my ideal, you know, my ideal partner would be. And what I actually did was I actually put that piece of paper aside somewhere. You know, I probably hid it so well that I can't find it today. But I put it aside, but, you know, I put it out there in the universe. Okay, this is what I want. And I asked myself, you know what? Is who I am today, that person that this girl is going to want to be with? If I wanted to marry a billionaire, do I have the billionaire personality where they'd want to be with me? And I said, you know what? Let me just not date until I become that guy that this girl wants. So that's why I focused so much this last year on my diet, my exercise, building the business, and just really just being happy with the results. And I think it was kind of a combination of all of that, of finally getting in shape, finally, being healthy, finally, being in a good mood all the time, and finally making enough money where I didn't have to stress out about it, where I was like, okay, now I'm ready to invite this amazing girl in my life. And she came.
It's pretty awesome. And I mean, I think just two things on that celebratory full circle. I've just put out an article on Fierce for Life about having an alter ego, and it's basically imagining the most badass, interesting, awesome version of yourself, and thinking, maybe even giving them a different name and being like, what would so and so do? This awesome person who I would give anything to be. What would they do in this situation? And always thinking about it through that filter means that you kind of level up your life a bit. It forces you to think bigger and to be more confident and to act as that other character would.
I like that.
So that's a really useful metric to filter your decisions through.
I'm gonna put a link to that in the show notes, as well as links to all the websites. We have fierceforlife.com, which is geared towards women, and we have onlybodyweight.com, which is the basically online workout videos that you can do anywhere in the world. Links to Lau's Twitter, my Twitter, and also I'm going to share with you guys that my personal perfect match write-up, even though it is very personal, but it's good. It's something kind of good to follow along, and not everything on there you're going to agree with. That's maybe some of these things aren't going to be important to you, but you kind of use that as a template to write up your own. And I highly encourage you guys to write it out, and even better, write it out on a piece of paper. Maybe take a picture of it so you don't lose it, like I did. But by physically writing it down, it really does make a big difference. And Lau was nice enough to create a nice little PDF for all the listeners as well. What's going to be in that PDF?
So basically, in that your podcast is Travel Like a Boss, I figure probably lots of people are traveling and lots of people are bosses or are aspiring to be bosses. So these are the 5 strategies that you can use to stay in shape while you travel like a boss. So if you're moving around a lot, traveling the world, 5 strategies to stop you from adding those traveling kilos. You go on holiday, you always come back a little bit heavier than you wanted to be. So these strategies will help you avoid doing that and stay really healthy and really fit and in shape on the road, so that you can focus on your business, on your relationships, kind of get your health on autopilot.
I like that. That's really cool. And we're going to give that away for free?
We are. I've got a special landing page just for Travel Like a Boss listening.
Nice. All right. So if you guys want access to that, as well as the links to everything else, just go to travellikeabosspodcast.com, and it's episode 25 with Lau Hanly.
Yep, or you can just get it straight at fistforlife.com/TLAB for Travel Like a Boss.
T-Lab. All right. Hey, Lau, thank you so much for being on the show.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
For everyone else, I'll see you guys next week. Keep traveling like a boss. Be fierce for life. Thank you for listening to the Travel Like a Boss podcast. If you want to hear more, including the bonus How to Choose the Perfect Niche episode, join our mailing list at travellikeabosspodcast.com. See you next week, and remember, if you want to travel like a boss, you need to be your own boss. So start your online business today and start living the lifestyle you've always dreamed of.